Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Times here on Radio Taiwan International. This is a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so meaningful, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. This is not a spoiler-free show, so bear that in mind as you continue to listen. We tackle movies, books, podcasts, and more. Where there's a story, there's a reason to read. I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, and this is our annual special format episode where we close out the year by talking with some people about the stories that moved them the most in 2025. This year, I'll be talking to a few of my fellow RTI hosts, including Tristan Hildebrand, Hanna Bilinski, and Eloise Phillips. We're going to mostly skip over the summary section in favor of discussing why these stories were so meaningful and giving you a pitch for why you might want to check it out too. So let's not waste any more time and just get into it. I think you came on actually last year, now that I'm remembering it, to talk about what you were looking forward to in 2026. I'm sure some people recognize you from your own shows at RTI, but just in case there's a couple of listeners out there who aren't catching your banger of a show.
Thank you.
Who are you, girl?
My name is Tristan. I work here at RTI, and I have a program called Formosa Fauna, where I talk all about animals.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like an amuse-bouche of like, what do you want to know? There's things about animal rights. There's things about how to protect animals in Taiwan. There's pet facts. There's all kinds of like any
stories,
idea you might want about animals. That's on Formosa Fauna, which is related to what we're talking about today very strongly. So what was your story for 2025?
Oh, the book is titled Animal Liberation Now, the Definitive Classic Renewed.
Oh, and real quick, who's the author for that?
Yeah, Peter Singer.
Okay. Animal Liberation Now by Peter Singer.
So this was a book that was released, I think, the first time back in the 1970s or the 1980s, and it took off. And people were buying copies. Oh, 1975. There we go. People were buying copies for their friends, for their family, saying, you have to read this. And they were forming organizations based off of this book. It started a whole revolution as far as animal rights goes.
Yeah. And that's why you said you made an insistence. We were talking about this just before recording about why to get specifically the definitive classic edition, because that's sort of like an edit to modernize it, or kind of like a re-release for modern times.
Right. There have been some improvements in the situation at hand, and there have been some
things
of
that
the
never
opposite.
changed, some backsliding.
Yeah, so it has been updated with the latest and greatest information and statistics. So people now reading, it is just as relevant to us now as it was back in 1975.
Obviously, you're an animal person. I'm sure this had something to do with it. But what made this your 2025 like top story, or story of the year, book of the year that you read?
It actually surprised me in the sense that in a way it's almost like a textbook, because it's full of information. It's factual. And
this is one of the few nonfiction books that I allow every year.
Yes, thank you for allowing it.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
But it's written in such a way that is so relevant to every single person on Earth, and so relevant to my life and things that are around me, that you finish it. You can finish it in one go. And it doesn't feel like you're reading a textbook.
It's very easily graspable.
Yes.
Sort of written for the layman.
Yes. And considering the topic that it covers, some animal rights and factory farming. So actually, it isn't the most comfortable topic to read. I started reading it on the airplane, and I did split it up into 3 days.
Yeah.
Just because I was busy, but it felt like I want to know more, and I need to know more, and I need to finish this, because God knows what else is in there that I don't know. Including, can I just throw some fun facts at you?
Fun facts at me.
Okay. For example, the 2 minutes that maybe it took for the introduction of this episode, let's say, within those 2 minutes, approximately 316,000 sentient beings were slaughtered.
Oh, this isn't a fun fact. This is a bummer fact.
Kind of fun. And
but back to factory farming,
Yes.
like it runs like a machine. So it's not maybe the way that we would think about how farming and meat is typically produced.
No.
It's at a really high level. And numbers like that are crazy because like most humans don't really have a benchmark for these big numbers. Like I couldn't pinpoint that number of erasers on a table.
Oh no.
Like that would be crazy.
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
But also the eggs we eat too. My elementary school brain would say there are chickens, and if they're hens, they lay eggs and we eat the eggs. And then maybe if they get old or something, they get killed and we eat the meat.
Right.
And then
kind of like a cottage farm idea.
Right. There's this like farm to table idea that we're actually fed when we're in school.
Yeah.
And it makes us think that these animals are living happy lives on these nice green farms, and it's just not true. And a lot of those facts are really hard to face.
If you don't mind, that was going to be one of my questions because I think we're going to say but important. And I agree with you on that. I was going to say, do you feel like this is a book, it was easy to read because of the writing, but how is it as like an emotional read? Especially as somebody who cares a lot about animals.
I will say I am very emotional, especially when it comes to animals. Like if a dog dies in a movie, I would rather not watch it.
Same.
And I will cry if the dog dies in a movie.
I don't want to watch it. That's
I don't
why
want to watch it.
I use that website.
Or if they shoot the horse when they're running away.
Same website.
Why does it happen?
Everybody does thedogdie.com. You can use it. It will tell you just that information for any movie.
So considering that, the fact that I was able to consume this that quickly and with minimal effects to my mental health is very impressive. And I don't know what it is about this book that does that.
Okay.
But my life around me has changed a lot. And the decisions I've been making since reading that have changed a lot.
Yeah. And so what would be your pitch for why people should read this going into 2026? Is it because you think that it will be very illuminating? Like, is it everything you've said up until this point? Is there anything else that you've left out?
I feel like as a consumer, if you consume meat or dairy or any of these products.
Or any other animal products too, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
There's things like fur, there's things like gelatin, a lot of these things that we use animal products from.
If you consume or use a product that is made through animal testing, you know,
pharmaceuticals or makeup, for example.
Right. You have a responsibility to learn and to read this book, period.
Kind of like what we say, not on this show, but on my other show, Doom Scroll News Report, to be high information about what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tristan, thank you so much for your time. Very illuminating. I just learned a lot in the last little interview that we had in this last 5 minutes.
Read it.
7 minutes. All right. So welcome to the show, Eloise.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're brand new to RTI. Not new to Taiwan, though. Could you introduce yourself real quick?
Of course. So I'm Eloise. I'm from the UK, and I have been in Taiwan for about 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. I used to live in Taidong. I went straight there and then ended up doing my master's there, graduated, and now I'm here.
And now you're here with us at RTI. So it's worked out very well for us. Eloise is our brand new writer, radio host. Some of you will no doubt have heard her already by the time that this comes out. So we really appreciate you just kind of like jumping into the thick of it on our show here. So you were busy working on your master's. I don't know how much time you had to read.
Not a lot. It was all academic essays. So not necessarily, reading for pleasure as such. But I tried to squeeze a few in there,
sometimes for your own mental health, right? It was like, I need to remember there's other things out there.
Definitely.
So what was one of your top stories from 2025?
I would say something that actually in the end ended up influencing my thesis as well, even though it was absolutely nothing directly to do with it, was this Tibetan Buddhist book that I read called Shambala Wisdom. It's about a kingdom in the past, so it's not some sort of imagined mystical place, not like a heaven or anything like this. It's a real place where enlightened beings existed, and basically the book itself is just kind of different techniques of gaining enlightenment, and whether it's meditation or even non-meditation techniques as well, and just how to be present. And I know it's sounding like every other self-help, but I think it's the poetry in the way it's written that really struck me. And they talk about the dralas of existence, and this is like basically recognizing the magic of existence in small things. So I read this whilst I was doing my research for my master's.
Sounds like it would have been really good for your mental health.
Yeah, no, really. And because I was, just a little bit of background, my research was about weaving, and I was actually doing weaving, practicing on one of the traditional bunun weaving machines myself. And it was whilst I was like spending hours and hours just going backwards and forwards on this weaving machine. I mean, it was painful. It was like, it was long. It was laborious.
There's a reason they call it a labor, right? Labor of love, all those things.
Yes. But I was thinking over these ideas from the Shambala Wisdom book. And within that, I had this kind of weird experience of the mundane but magical, the dralas, as they call it in the book, of existence. So yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, like, I've heard that, like, one goal of the Studio Ghibli films is to sort of like romanticize everyday life. So a similar idea of like to make you fall in love with like the everyday things that you do, though they don't seem glamorous, but like they're still worth doing, and that you can still find that like romantic or wonderful spark in like making breakfast or doing your laundry or traveling to work or school, which by itself seems like droll, but actually could be something that maybe you can bring yourself to enjoy.
Exactly, by being present, and that's the takeaway from that book. So
is that what made it your top book of 2025? Like it sort of helped you reshape how you were thinking about things that you were going through, or like routines? I
think so, yeah. Again, I think it was the language that they used, because I've read a lot of these kind of books before, but never anything that quite phrased it in the way that author did.
Do you have the name of the author?
Trungpa Rinpoche. The first name I'm not sure how to pronounce, because it has the CHO with the two dots.
Like the umlaut or whatever.
Umlaut, that's the one. GYAM. So Chögyam, I'm going to say, but I'm not.
No worries. So then the last thing that I will ask you is, what would be your pitch for why other people should check it out?
I would say, just if in this kind of mad existence that we called life, that you need a kind of escape, but not escape as in something that's not
takes
accessible.
You out of the world.
It keeps you within it, the
sort
chaos
of like grounding.
It. Yes. And if you just want to be inspired again, if you've like maybe found yourself in despair, it can just pull you out. For me, after reading that, I felt like I was on a kind of natural high, which sounds cheesy, but
no, sometimes the right book does that.
So much so that before I was procrastinating on my research, because I've been quite self-deprecating before, and after reading that book, I just felt so motivated that I actually did it, and you
went out and just got it done.
I just said to myself, just do it.
That's awesome.
So
oh my god, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Eloise. This was so much fun to talk.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome back to Tales of Our Time. A lot of people are used to hearing us recording together, or they'd better be. They're listening to us every Monday. But hey, you want to introduce yourself anyway?
I'm Hanna Bilinski. I co-host the Doom Scroll News Report, and I also host my own program called Retro Reels. That's me.
Which is why I wanted to talk to you before the end of the year, because you are one of the people I know who watches more movies than just about anybody else. I have like two people in my life who I know watch a lot of movies.
I now kind of have to, like it's compulsory now because of what I chose to do with my program, but it's also, something I like to do.
But it was
anyway.
like a good thing that you assigned yourself.
Oh yeah. This is something I can always write about. That's why I picked it.
And that's why I'm here, because I love talking to people about media. So on that note then, what was one of your top movies or stories, if it's not a movie, from 2025?
I think the top one for me was Akira Kurosawa's film, 1961 film Yojimbo, which you may not have seen, but you have definitely seen the influence of in many, 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 many subsequent films, including one spaghetti western called A Fistful of Dollars. It's part of the Good, Bad, and Ugly trilogy. Yeah, with Clint Eastwood as the no-name cowboy. The first installment of that series that ends with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Fistful of Dollars was a direct rip-off, pretty much, of Yojimbo.
What made Yojimbo your top story for the year?
I would say it's because I ended up watching many subsequent films that were inspired by Yojimbo or something else that was inspired by Yojimbo. So it was like everything else was going back to this movie again and again.
It's the Yojimbo butterfly effect.
Pretty much, yeah. So I watched Yojimbo and then I watched Le Samurai, which is a French movie. No, it went all around the world. This story went all around the world and back. And it was just like a back and forth ping pong effect of everybody taking this idea, this anti-hero that Kurosawa created, and putting that as part of all different kinds of films, westerns, film noir, crime dramas. Like any time you see an anti-hero, maybe not every time, but a lot of the time, you are seeing vestiges of the character that Kurosawa made in Yojimbo. And that's what made it like the story for me, because I ended up getting pretty familiar with it.
The like hero without a cause, errant knight, kind of arc, which you can see across different cultures. But the thing about film is that like while stories develop independently and those tropes mirror each other but come from different places, I think filmmaking is a lot more of a closed circle because people who were making films was a smaller industry to begin with.
It's
so
hard
you
to
were
get into
seeing
that.
a lot of other people's work. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was this year, one of my guests gave me the idea that like some pieces of media are sort of like a bay leaf for the genre. If the genre is a soup, then some media pieces are a bay leaf, where like they add so much flavor that you then see them reflected and echoed out across like things that have never even seen the source material, but like you said, saw things inspired by the source material.
I talked about this a little bit actually when I covered Yojimbo, about how, and also Kurosawa's film Seven Samurai, about how typical these things have become now, that it no longer seems unique or interesting by the time you go back and watch the original, because it has become normal, a convention of the genre, you know. And it's like I compared it to Seinfeld. You know, if you go back and watch Seinfeld, you think, what's the big deal? Because every sitcom since has been taking from Seinfeld. So yeah, it's the same kind of deal there.
Right. That was exactly what I was going to ask you. Like, do you feel this is a bay leaf? But it seems like that's exactly what it is.
100% it's a bay leaf.
Oh, man. So I guess what would be your pitch then for why people should check it out?
I think maybe one of the best reasons to watch this movie in particular is to see the performance of Toshiro Mifune as the Wandering Ronin, the Yojimbo of the story, because it's really one of his best performances. He's a really good looking dude. It's like he's
Love
in
that.
his prime.
One of those like cinema stars from the 60s.
It's just great. And also, this is a silly note, I guess, but it's the only movie I can think of that starts with a dog walking by the main character with a severed hand in his mouth. Really sets
off to the
tone.
races. Whoa. All right. Well, I mean, you know what? I'll be honest. That pitch, that by itself would get people that I know to watch it. I can think of like 3 people who would immediately be interested in watching the rest of the movie after that.
No, it's really fun. I promise.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. It's always a treat to talk with you, especially
Thanks for having me.
Not about news.
Yeah, please. This is such a refresher.
And that's all the time that we have for our look back on 2025. I hope you were able to add something to your watch list, your read list. Special thanks to all my guests. Again, those were Tristan Hildebrand, Hanna Bilinski, and Eloise Phillips. You can hear all of their shows here on Radio Taiwan International. But in the meantime, thank you to all of you for tuning in. And from all of us here at Radio Taiwan International, Happy New Year. And we'll be back in 2026.